Caitlin Glass, the voice of Vados from Dragon Ball Super. And
this is Paul St. Peter,
and you're watching
Brian Awesome. There's a reason we call him Brian Awesome. It's because he's awesome, Brian.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, another unboxing. Yep, another unboxing to further add to my collection. Now it's important that you need some type of decent tool to open it, because it's common sense that in case a package that's mailed to you or that you're mailing to somebody, and duct tape and something strong, so naturally you need something strong to open it up. Yep. And what do we have here, ladies and gentlemen? Whoa! White Ranger Tiger Power. Yep. A special size 1994 figure of the White Tigerzord. Not the deluxe size that you could attach stuff to and you can spend $30 extra to be able to attach Megazords to it or transform it. This is the special size version, just as detailed, or maybe more so, because not much is put into, you know, changing it, other than to make it look like it does on the show. Yep, here's the original box in decent condition. At least it keeps the toys safe. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers logo. The original, one of the original stock photos that was still used on the packaging, and this is a Target exclusive special size White Tigerzord. And the similar logos and font is used on the side of the boxes, on the top and bottom. And here's the basic instructions on how to use it. Yep, one White Tigerzord, one sword, and labels. And luckily the stickers and labels have already been put up here, because when I was a kid these things were a pain to do myself, because I used to get my dad to do it, but then sometimes dad would get me the Red Dragon Thunderzord or get me the Mega Tigerzord or wherever the case, and then he'll go about his way to beat traffic, you know, to head back up to Richmond, so I had to do the stickers myself. Yep, 1994, that was a good year for entertainment, still during the golden years. Don't mean to sound old, but facts are facts. Now let's get to the nitty gritty let's get down to it and open the box. White Ranger Tiger. I'm not a good singer, so you have to bear with me. This almost looks exactly like the deluxe White Tigerzord that I had. As you can see, as with the case with the Ninja Tigerzord, the Ninja Mega Falcon Zord, and as with the case with the Red Dragon Thunderzord, or if you look up the Thunder Megazord, when you compare the special size versions to the deluxe versions, the special size versions are just as detailed or more so, as I mentioned earlier, than their deluxe counterparts, because more effort is put into actually making the toys look like the counterparts as what you would see them on TV. You know, the guys wearing the Megazord suits. And less effort into, oh, we gotta make it transform and all this other stuff. So this is White Tigerzord. You know, apparently a lot of features are painted on there to make it look like it, kind of, you know, like I mentioned, as opposed to being able to pull out the toes and rearranging and pushing the legs up to make the White Tiger. Can you turn the head? No, I'm not even going to try to, because I don't want to break it. Unlike the Mega Tigerzord that's in my living room, you can't slightly turn the paws. That's not a big deal to make it seem like you could transform it. You know, bulb is pointing on and it got the same symbol. Yeah. We're gonna do a size comparison as well. Just something, you know, good to have. I might put this back in the box for the time being, or I might display this somehow. Tiger Power. Or I might put this in the Titanic and put the Mega Tigerzord back on top of my bookcase. Here's the Power Sword, which would serve as the tail if this could transform, but hey. It's not quite a pocket knife, but it serves its purpose. Tiger Power. Sorry. Got the little decorative bulbs up here for display bulbs. For some reason it doesn't have red bulbs on the feet, but yeah. Yeah, Tiger Power. Here we go once again. Special size Red Dragon Thunderzord, special size White Tigerzord Warrior Mode, special size Mega Tigerzord. All of these are from and represent the second season. Apparently these two came out first before this one, hence, you know, short order. I guess that's how that works. And as you can tell, the White Tiger and Red Dragon, which are basically warrior modes of their Zord counterparts, are the same height, whereas the Mega Tigerzord, which understandably is attached to other Zords, is naturally taller. And what I like about this is that this is obviously a special size Zord in which on rare occasion you're able to detach some parts. But even with that being said, it's rare that the detachable parts that you will find that do detach from the other parts of the special size Zord, it's rare that the detached parts will be almost exactly like the deluxe counterparts. But as you can see, you can detach the Firebird and you can remove its tip. But other than that, it's just on. You can't transform it back into the Firebird Griffin. It's just painted on to make it look like it does on the show in that form. But detach the Griffin and the Unicorn, and if you were to just look at these themselves, you're hardly able to tell that they aren't the deluxe versions, because it wasn't that much detail put behind the actual designs of the Griffin or the Firebird. I mean the Griffin and the Unicorn. So that makes for that much more realism in comparison to the deluxe versions of these. I'm glad that I was able to find these exact copies for $30 or under in some cases. So in comparison, I've already compared the height. Let's compare the designs. Apparently, either there was never any stickers made for these parts, or they just went missing, or the person just got lazy who originally owned this. Almost twice as tall as the regular counterpart, either to accentuate the fact that this is the mega version of it, or just design purposes or whatever. But the designs are almost exactly the same, except that what would have been the Thunderbolt, the inside designs are kind of, it's accentuated that it's hidden, so there's no purpose of putting Thunderbolts on that. But the end designs on the shoulders are the same, except that in this transforms state, the designs used in this transformed state doesn't make for. The way they went about it, is no room for the actual correct number of little orb things. It's just one instead of two on each shoulder. But otherwise, the designs are the same. The white tiger symbol, the paws, except these are straight black for the regular Tigerzord, whereas it's still a steel design for the Mega Tigerzord. A little note or a little fact is that when you have the deluxe version, whether originally or the legacy version of the white Tigerzord, when you have it in warrior mode before you transform it to prepare for the Mega Tigerzord transformation, the helmet that you see on the Mega Tigerzord, the faceplate helmet on the regular warrior mode of the white Tigerzord, is on the back of his head until you flip it over and slide it up. The way they did this for the special size white Tigerzord is that what would be the faceplate of the Mega Tigerzord is still on the back of his head, but they didn't do much detail at all paint wise. The shape is still there. The shape is still there. You still see the flat part of what's right here for the most part. For the most part, but that's about it. But you don't see the pointed parts, and at the same time you still see what would have had the little orb here for here, but that's about, and you still see the, let's see, yeah, you still see pretty much everything else, but that's about it. They still went into detail into putting the M's and the orbs here in the white tiger, the white tiger face and all that, which for some reason sticks out more in the regular warrior mode than it does in their design of the Mega Tiger. They still have some of the stickers here, but everything else is not detailed. It's not like when you buy the special size Tor Shuttle Zord that when that comes with the more miniature version or even smaller versions than what you see here of the Red Dragon and White Tiger, those are so small to where it's hard to pinpoint any type of designs to make it look like it actually does on the show. I can understand that little 2-inch versions of the Red Dragon and White Tiger to come with the special size Tor, which I want to get, but I can understand that. But these things are at least half, if not 75% of the size of their actual deluxe counterparts, and you barely see accurate designs within this except what you see on face value. The back, there's no detail, none, no detail. It's just all plain white. You look on the back of here, it's all plain white except for the paws. On the back of here, at least you got at least the correct parts for the back of the head. So that's just my observation. Let's compare the weaponry. Let's see, this is the power sword that came. This is the power sword that came with the White Tiger Warrior Mode special size. Small, not that much detail, and it's not the deluxe version, so it's not like you have to have this part white and red to connect with what would be the Tigerzord's tail, because is specifically made permanently to be in its warrior mode. So this is for the White Tiger. This is for the Mega Tigerzord. Now, in universe wise, Zordon can summon practically anything that's within their arsenal for any Zord to use. So you could summon the Thunder Megazord's sword for just the Red Dragon warrior mode to use, or you could summon the White Tigerzord warrior mode's sword for the Mega Tigerzord, you know, just in case the Firebird's destroyed. Just as much as you can summon the Dragon Dagger for Jason to use, or summon the Green Ranger shield for Zack to use. But usually, especially on screen, I have never, unless it's some Japanese footage that was never used from America and is exclusive to Japan, other than that, I have never seen the White Tigerzord sword being summoned for the Mega Tigerzord, because you always saw the Firebird being held as its primary weapon to temporarily fight before finishing the monster. So the only reason why I can explain that this will come with the Mega Tigerzord is for the simple fact that they want to increase the chances of little kids buying this. And then second, just for the sake of accessorizing this. It's the same reason why when you buy the special size Red Dragon Thunderzord, the only weapon that I've seen the warrior mode Red Dragon use is his staff. It's staff, period. Or it'll fight hand to hand, or fight with, you know, kicking the monsters. It never used the tip of the Firebird's tail. I mean, why? Why? What kind of damage would it even do in an actual fight, let alone what would be the purpose other than it looking cool for, I mean, other than for toy sales and accessorization? You know, I mean, if you want to increase the chances of kids buying your special size Zords because they can't necessarily afford to get the deluxe versions, just like with the Mega Tigerzord, just like they did with the actual special size Thunder Megazord that I don't have, at least not yet. Just like with the Mega Tigerzord and the Thunder Megazord, in which you can detach the Griffin and the Unicorn, have a special size version of the Red Dragon Thunderzord, but have it come with all of the Thunderzord Assault Team, in which there will be a little bit more transforming capabilities within the Red Dragon Thunderzord, just enough so you could attach the Griffin, Unicorn, Firebird, and the Lion to the special size Red Dragon that I'm kind of referring to in this scenario, just as much as if you had the deluxe versions, except you can't fully transform that special size Red Dragon into its dragon mode, because the main purpose of that would still keep it as a warrior mode, but have it so you could, you know, attach the other Zords to it. That would be the perfect way to add extra accessories to something that you want to sell to kids. But that's just my 2 cents. And another thing that kind of doesn't make sense to me in a small way, I mean, it's not a big complaint, but when you buy the deluxe version, any deluxe version of the Thunderzord Assault Team and Red Dragon, and you transform it into the you transform it into the Thunder Megazord, after it becomes a Thunder Megazord, you still have the option of using either it's the Red Dragon staff or using the actual Thunder Saber as a weapon. And when you use the staff, you can detach the Firebird's tail and attach it to the staff of the deluxe version of these Thunderzords. But when you buy this special size Red Dragon Thunderzord, you can use either the Firebird staff or the dragon staff, but you can't combine them. I mean, what's the freaking purpose of having a little tiny Firebird? I mean, it's a freaking dagger, for Pete's sake. But that's my 2 cents, and I have nothing to complain about either as a kid or as an adult owning these, because these are still neat as hell. And even if I had to pay a little more for all of these compared to if it was 1994 me buying these, then it's still a hell of a lot less than either going online or going anywhere to buy the legacy versions of these Zords deluxe, which are deluxe size. Or even if it was 1994 and I went to get the deluxe versions of the Dragonzord or the Red Dragon or the Tigerzords, these are still at least a little cheaper when I paid for them, you know, recently, compared to either these versions or, well, not these versions, but compared to the deluxe versions then. My only regrets is that considering what was released for the short amount of years that Saban still owned Power Rangers, with what Saban has done before Bandai bought them out, or even what Bandai is kind of doing now, but it's kind of hard to tell what Bandai's going to do since they're still relatively new with Power Rangers. But what's been released so far from the Legacy line was either little trinkets of replica weapons and replica morphers, or replica deluxe Zords. There has rarely been a case where they've sold Zords under the Legacy line re-releases of Power Rangers where it was just either a single Zord or it was a Zord that already came in a respective transformation, aka special size Zords, which they were usually called. Except the cases of when the Legacy line of Saban and Bandai started releasing single Zords in which you couldn't combine them or detach any parts, so it was more detail in its joints and movements and how they actually look compared to the deluxe versions or compared to their show counterparts. As you can see with this T-Rex that I bought, you know, you can spin its head and move in different ways. You know, why didn't they continue to do that or release them? Or why not have these be the first things that they release under the Legacy line? This is like the second or third wave technically, or the second or third branch of the first or second wave. Why wasn't this one of the first things released to where you can get the T-Rex and the saber-tooth tiger out of the way, and then the second part of the first wave that this is in, you could just say screw it and release these versions of the Triceratops, of the Firebird, Mastodon, and the Dragonzord. I would have loved to have the special sized version of the Legacy Dragonzord alongside this T-Rex, because you know Tommy and Jason on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was basically the Ken and Ryu of Power Rangers. That's just my 2 cents. Final thoughts. Other than the fact that I hope that Hasbro, the people who owns Transformers, the fact that I hope that they re-release special sized versions of not just the American stuff that we got in America of Zords like the White Tiger, Red Dragon, and stuff that was originally released in America, but I hope they make special sized versions of Zords that they only released in Japan. I mean, on the America show, we've seen the the Mega Dragonzord and the Dragonzord battle mode dozens of times, and the only way that you could use that Zord or play with that Zord is if you already had the deluxe versions of the Megazord and Dragonzord to make the Mega Dragonzord or Dragonzord battle mode, in which it doesn't really make sense that they call the Mega Dragonzord since it's still the Megazord that's the base, so it should be called the Super Megazord or the Mega Megazord. And the Dragonzord battle mode should have an alternate name in which you call it the Mega Dragonzord. But nonetheless, there should be a special size release in America, because this is from Japan, in which coming from Japan to the original owner of this is the reason why the Dragonzord's head fin isn't there. But nonetheless, it should be an American version of this. Hasbro. And then my second regret, not a big regret, just in regards to retrospective thoughts, is more on a personal perspective. A lot of these toys and action figures and stuff, especially for MMPR, especially when you look at these special size ones, they were at least $10 to $20 cheaper back in the day, and I didn't start working until the late 2000s because I wasn't really old enough before then. So it would have been nice if, like I currently am now, I'm learning how to save money and investing and budgeting, and I have people, especially my mom, to help me out with that. But it's still possible, even in this day and age, to do all that, but at the same time have money other than just to put away or to buy groceries or buy essentials. That's what you call rewarding yourself. Imagine if this was out again, or imagine if this was the heyday of the 90s to the early 2000s of it, if a certain show was successful, like the Marvel animated universe of back in the day, of Spider-Man animated series with Christopher Daniel Barnes, or X-Men animated series with certain voice actors, and that show was successful, which made Fox Kids successful. And then imagine all of a sudden you go to Toys R Us one day, or go to KB Toys, or even Target or Walmart or Kmart, and their toy sections have the exact golden replicas displayed beautifully for you to get based off of what you watched on TV. And at the same time, in regards to the Marvel characters, during those respective time frames, you will also, go out and play Marvel vs. Street Fighter, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, and have a lot of the exact same designs and sometimes same voice actors from those shows, making you want to go back and watch the show and make you want to go back to those toy stores to see what kind of stuff that would be beautifully displayed action figure wise, and sometimes with excellent box art. As you can see on here, box art, logo wise, box art. And as you saw earlier in this video, box art on the Power Ranger stuff, visually displaying and making people want to buy something. So with all that being said, imagine if this is the adult version of you, or at least the version of you that has a good job and is already investing and has savings and all that. Imagine if history repeated itself now, or this was the 1990s, the earlier 2000s, and you got, let's say, taxes came in, or you had a bonus or a raise, or you're still somehow spoiled by your grandparents or parents or a special someone, and everything's put away for savings and investments and budgeting and stuff like that, and imagine you have $200 on you, cash. $200. You don't have to spend any of it on gas. You got a full gas tank Everything's paid for the time being anyway, for the next few months or whatever. You know, gas is full, you already bought groceries, you might already have extra money other than the 200 set aside for, let's say, you know, going out to dinner or whatever. You got $200. It's the 1990s. KB Toys, Toys R Us, and then briefly stop by the toy sections of the Walmarts and Kmarts and Targets, and maybe go by a couple of thrift stores and flea markets, and throw in a Goodwill. That goes back to my second regret of, even though I was too young then, it would have been nice if I had a freaking job. To not just depend on a birthday or a Christmas or a special day where my parents wanted to spoil me, or dad was in town, or wherever the case, to take me to Toys R Us or wherever. That, imagine if I had a job especially if I worked at certain places where they sold some of the stuff, and I get off work and I have my discount card for the store that I work for. I go in the toy section and find these in their original packaging. From Zords to Rangers to Marvel vs. Capcom figures, and even Marvel vs. Capcom type of games for your PlayStation. Imagine. I mean, just imagine. I mean, I can only imagine. I mean, let's say if our parents during that time frame were a fan of the stuff that we're a fan of, to the extent that we're a fan of it. You know, that's probably what they would be doing, other than setting aside money for essentials and taking care of us, their children. But imagine, you know, if my mom was a fan of this, she would probably have at least a Mega Tigerzord or something displayed next to her record player and CD collection from when she probably went out and bought it herself anxiously. I mean, that's one of the things that kind of just drew me to stuff like this, to nerd memorabilia. And the reason why a lot of this stuff was successful or stands out a lot, it's all in how you visually display something, how you visually make something, and in a lot of cases, how you visually promote something. Point blank. So I hope y'all enjoyed this, and maybe we can do more unboxings, and peace and love.